So I don't know about the spiritual world more than those who are taking it as a career. And so all these things work for good. We should not ignore them. We are more spiritual than physical. And when you are young, the flesh is stronger. As you grow old, the soul and the spirit dominates. When you get to a very advanced age, the spirit is stronger. Every elderly person will tell you. And so our people in the spiritual world, the imams, pastors, the reverends, we should listen to them. It's not all of them who are looking for money. Don't take what they say for granted. If they say act, act. I listen to all. I myself have been threatened many times. And I listen to the prophecies. I don't take them sleeping because that's their area. I can't say somebody who is not in parliament will do parliamentary work more than me. And so I don't know about the spiritual world more than those who are taking it as a career. And so all these things work for good. We should not ignore them.
Politicians they review prophecy when you're theologian. Be a politician. Ain't it so what say? Fadia mo akosono enye yenhwenya. Nemum masres ensori ahodo no. Mumma yeni mu nhia. Mu members ni mu asofo na mo hye nkomo no. Mu konfo ahodo ni mo asori mpanyifo no. Yes tramo. Mu review sadie no. Na mo membo ya mane ni Awurade ka kire mu ni. Na prophetic yina ye asa sorry no nyame kasa efa wo mu treye no omo na review be a politician enti se wo say na mo membo ya mane ni Awurade ka kire mu ni mo adwene wo ho ni mo abɔ ho mpa ye awie mo gidi sade na efi Awurade
tini kire mu ni nyina ne se wo de wo hu bibia wo betumi declare so wasore dem say radio station say ye bibia ba ni nyina echi no the concerning president and our presidency and our ministers and our minor eye bibia ye hu brabe hu no oba be hu na ono a be makwan ama ne a opesa wo ye no be lead you ama ebia na opesa o meet opani bi ono be lead you edwa ko opani in office and I believe say ye nya as opportunity say bi da but aban we buy no said ye wasi abie kwan no ama no ho kwan no ama sebe fivefold ministries no be a chance say onye na djuma including prophetic ministry because those days no na omo madi for no kwan am I into me in declare ne mabi but aban bae odi sa djuma no
semnisi no ye hu say prophecy bebre abedadi na dodo na no no mo kasa mo hu ye but na ekwan on be fa so a omo ne aban penifo no be dinkita on na sa kwan ni ho enti ya the number any email address at all say obi biara obi hu bibia efa or my penifo especially president ne high government officials yes sensitive obetimi afasa kwan no so na ye no atrase ne ahwe kwan e be fa so ye nka say ye si omukwan se mo prophesy dabi anya sa akro bia betimi a prophesy na niema ye very delicate ye security sensitive president airplane ne ade no eno mo na sensitive kakra nti eno no ye biesa window no se be a obetimi afa so.
And the question is that Honorable Chair, you are all elected to be members of parliament by our votes, and therefore you have been empowered by the constitution and other laws to make certain proclamations which is acceptable. But those who are prophets, who elected them over my life, to just get out there and make pronouncement about me where I'm not a member of your family, I'm not your church member, and probably the person might not be even believing in God. And how can a family meet and that family is not thinking about its members, but is thinking about outside people who are not related to the family, and be able to get revelation about those people and share it out there to cause fear and panic. And the point, another point, all this matter we have decided not to talk about it. We are deep-seated Christians that we don't joke with godliness, but we also will not allow anybody to use God to create a mess and confusion, because God is not a God of confusion and God is not a God of disorderliness.
20 minutes and me who say me woman organizer or deputy constituency woman organizer e no free. In fact ABY men so na me so me free some few kilometers from Mens Akrofoma district capital na ɛhɔ na me deputy women's organizer no ɔwɔ ɛna me hu sɛ me call radio station no pɛnti me free hɔ no me phone so no nyinaa da hɔ da silence me nyim free hɔ nti me kɔ hɔ na wafɛ me bɛnsia ɛna me fɛ na ankɔ ɛna me hu sɛ me chairman a ɔno nso yɛ DC nso afɛ bɛmpɛn mmienu nti me fɛ no na ɔka kyerɛ me sɛ wate sɛ helicopter foforɔ nso abɛ lande ɛwɔ deɛ ka ne sɛ adwafo emergency landing because almost say ɛnyɛ hɔ ɛna ɔmo ba na emu ɔmo kɔ baabi na ɔmo ayera information ɛdi nka aba no sɛ ɔmo ayera abɛpie hɔ nti ɔmo asi wɔ hɔ na ɔno nso nam kwan so a ɔrekɔ hɔ nti mafrɛ me mpanimfo no bi sɛ baabi a mewɔ no memi ntimi nkɔ hɔ sisi nti ɔmo ntum ne ka nkɔ hɔ na ɛho ama ne bo bi aba deɛ mɛtumi de ato dwa sisi a ɛyɛ anigye sɛm ne sɛ ɔmo sɛ nyɛ sɛ ɛbɛhwee hɔ anaasɛ yɛ bibi ɔno ara na gyinaeɛ ogyinaeɛ putupum because ofii sɛ ɔkɔ n'anim a ana ɔkɔ n'akyi a ɛnyi nti sɛ yɛhyɛ nyama ne bo bi fa ho a yɛde bɛba abɛto dwa but ɛnokorɛ sɛ mehwɛ mpanimfo a ɔmafrɛ me afiri kuro no mu a ɔmaka no a na ɛnokorɛ sɛ ampa helicopter foforɔ anaasɛ pray foforɔ nso aba bɛlande wɔ adwa.
And the question is that, you are all elected to be members.
Who they be able to tell papa? Because I don't pay me say me commander the film who say play neighbor. A corner Satan and up, but I'm say no they play the out then and who say other than a eba. Already who your mobile. I say almost a plane and a Satan, but who say I say a buffum. I say Miss Remember me the friend you what the home say ready. No they better to come here for me a jatoman.
Train be chair, Namu Fee, Namin wedding. Keep chairman a coin a Satan and Eban. My whooshy, plain over me say, then one time a Tommy Danzo. Now me the moon say, or buy a Timmy Chenzi plane or any of the cheap. I'm a coya and buy my who say, one do from Canoas and say, not before Obelande, not Obelande, Orlando, you know, service any committee for Baha. And you me by home by Pamo and you know, I could never fool and a pay by a body or but plain bedroom for one, Yamasa Colocra, minimum Johnny. Because si bien si enu so de alande for mawie ana etumika iti etumika wie na esamba na sabe twam no iti ona enya call say plane na belande wo edwafo park ne so
na wo hwa nyenkoa me nam asore no bebre omo na di sade na eba nyenkoa me nam asore wa man church no ono no onti obia se ono susu no owo ni mu gidie bi owo ni mu gidie bi se ono nkoa no ene yakobon kasa kira no osan wo ni gidie bi se ono no ye papa yo nti otia na ye from men of God me say me ochechire ni me kremoni me malam me sheik me say here no no me ntimi mfra me ho man of God ebi say one say na ma ya hantan it is say nimpa bi tie mu a wo mo papa yo no kra na echen eye dia wo ye sofo nti no you are not the perfect human being na obi o ho a onduru mpempenso na emom no nyame atinimu nyame ehu ne papa yo ne tedeni echen wo de
ye kasa ne ma ya populist me can say a populist guy no please let's deal with it as a nation. Samima were a private matter. We cannot rule a nation on the basis of prophecy. Because how do you even determine that prophecy where you're right and not you're right? Where then I'll be Samima. And Timuma Asofono Anya Mia Moma Chedia let them pray about it. Let them deal with it. Now Apaya you say man also man. Yes, there are so many things that will inform your policies. Some of them, and is a public requirement. And if you are going to rule your nation on the basis of the Udif one now come for, maybe you got your wise up to you. But put something in place, mind.
nyinada nipa wo mayimu nyinada nipa abonyanya ewo mayimu obi enhu baabi a wode nani kire obi enhu baabi a wo kasem no asi so amana yeyie enu nti no ye fa we kakra ni afa we kakra ni aka we kakra ni ye de akobo ha kakra ni abo we sobo kakra ene ye de ne saa ni ye de kɔ na awotwe wa atwe nkyemu a esi ye ewo sikaman brofredu asante mantem adanse mansimu na busua wiem hyɛn ya chese we ya beka ne se helicopter ya ekote hwe ye eja tomuo nipa nwotwe ato nananom ense do no minim se we ya de foforo ma yense yenhu bi da nunti ena yenhu asem no se ne yesi aka no afa se ye betwen po se enhwehwemu na wo se koso ni yehu ni asie anasa yemfa nkɔ hunhum mu se eye hunhum mu nwuma wan efrida asem ni si ye no woni a wogidi se da bi eye hunhum bi eye ne nipa bi yoye ansa na ye beto aba ena sunsunsanso oba ebi susi o eye nipa bi anu asem o mo kaaye ena eye adwuma ansa ne ye boboni a wonum so de nim se afidie nipa dasani na ye se ye ka fidie se ye ka ye timuo se ye rupreo se ye bicycle se ye moto ayeti so ade a nipa dasani ye na ye den a mfonso ba akomienu ebetumi aba ho ena fidie so a ye de ye adwuma de koba de emu betumi atechema eti nka ye ntwen na nka nei se ye se black box a wiemhyen no tehwe ye hu wo mu no se black box no ye hu nko ade a kientwen ema ne wo ye sa wiemhyen yi wo mie so ne enhwede na si ya ankasa na nke kasa ne agina so ba asem no ye bebre frida wukuada no beto nne ama sesei enye Ghana de brofo mo kasa de ordinary Ghanaian na ye confuse to the top ekosi ye mpanimfo so ena ese mpanimfo hu ne ye wo beye eti ne ye hu no ubisa ho se ya dwen ya busuafo a wahwere wade hye no ho se nipa no yewdie bi wom nipa no udi yawo eti ye ne wonsumom yentwen ayiyo ya ye no yenwie babi a ye de kɔ ana sankie bedi nkomo mpa ye nkomo no yenwene busua a wahwere wade hye no ho se da bi ne ye kan ene social media nti ene se wo bintumi nka se mi mobile phone mi mienti radio de obi betumi aka so sabri de me mpese metie me mpese mehwe TV because of situation na me wom bas wo fa ne phone na wo bie na social media no ne wo bi ka ne wo bi yo ebrikuro ekabusua ya wahwere wade hye a na se wo man no ankasa ekwaye abose ye faso eniema ebose ye wabra atwerenchem bi se yesie no yenhu ba bi ade eti bebo yenhu ba bi ade eti bebo enu nti na asemu asie o ye nhwehwemu yenwie ye from the scene accident scene honomo no nhwehwemu asojafo ne won ye gya wakire kura no won fa danse mra na meboa nhwehwemu no wode ye won piki nwie ye black box ye mie so hu ne womuo but eniema na ye bebre aman ne mampani atena ye ne ye tie ne se ye de akonwa si wonomo sesei asofo ni bi ka nipa bi a woso ye difo nipa bi oso o mikura de me nya difo so me da mi hu ade sa nipa ne se ne wo huo no wo mudi kan hu ye eti se sade a ya te deske wo mampani atena ye wuni pa kro de wo se wanya diye wasonda ye bi afabra na ye nso ne so eno ni asemu a na ye topic da ho no mu ena asemu a chese da ho no mu a wo mayi mu mpanimfo twene sra ni abasa ena wo se ye de ba ena ye nka se ye tan asofo ena aye bebre ba bi ye de ani ahwe no no ba bi ya na ye de ani ahwe no no we kan we na we ya kan we na we ya kan we from mampani atena ye besi fam wutimi se o mamuni nyina confusion efri das atwerenchem si ye no ba se ne wuti asemu akoso se sa helicopter 2 another 2 baako nkoko ena baako baby asem ni si ye ne nkyɛn wa men sure se baby asem ni si ye no ne nkyɛn wo no mo a men so baby asem ni si ye no wo nkɔ wani mu ni constituency kro na mu foforo asanya si wei na kyerɛ wo se ya ntumi antena se na ya anya nhwehwɛmu no na ya hu asem ne se ewiemu sa kyerɛ ye mu nyuma wo ho de so obi ka se bibi ni wiase a no oboa eno no wo ho ba se da bi ade e wo se wo ye no honam ani ade e wo se wode won sa na ye nyame ama nipa nyansa se adwen no ode ato yetimu no yemfa nwene na ye take decisions wo so enti wontumi nka se wode adwen no nyame de ato tirimuo no eno de wo mfa nwen na emom wo pene hyew se da bia yenka bibi nkyerɛw da bia yenka bibi nkyerɛw a wo bɛyira wadwen so wo se ye adwuma wanka se wo so kokotodwanim na abɔ mpa ye bi ɛdiye ne bɛka mo na wo bɛfa ɛno so wo ho ba pa se ye bɛka se ade no bi esi ukuada ɛnam yenu mukuada no kora ne nya ba ko na si yo ɛno ba ko kosi wo kokɔben ye no wo mfimfini mantem ba ko kosi wo ho no mo enti sani ade na sia ye bebre no se wiem sa kyera ye na wiem ana boasi ne yehu ye ni mu a de na sesa ye eye woni etwi wiem hye na wo se ye hwe na ye ne wo kasa wo se ye cheche wo bibi de na sesa ye de na ye afa asem no ho because ne ye hu sesei de ya hwe ye a abusua omaye traumatize bo asem asi ne ho no wo mu na yesa so jagu wo musa na wo ya kwagina no aka o nkame kwa akoforo nia wo no de wo koforo ye no won de nyankopon bo wiase bo no wa amono anka mo nyame do ye wodi manyi pa nyina ne sa nipa ne de nyame do na bi nso ne so sa nipa no nyame hu mmobro no won de bi nso ne so eti sa ya nye sensitive ebo ye niema ye bi ho ya ntoya no nareka ewo niema bi ho etoda wuni pakro asem no kra wo ka no se wode wunim sa asem oyi amekan ebi abufuo bi wo mimu mi bie ma no se me ka se nye enu nti na toda nye nsem nyina ne ye ka bie enu nti na toda asem bi wo hono mo a ye se homeso ye kasa homeso a that means say as before I will be a one no akasa no e wo so hu sa asem a mekan etofa mu a nwansena betwa ho ahia na wo dia wo tese wo bi e ka bi wo tese ase asem aba na wo dimirika ne wo beka so no enya de se e hye nkura ne wasem a wo ka nyina ate akoma enti ye besre ba bi ageduru no se mpanimfo se wo num ye nhwehwemu a ye moa ye nye education ye fawiem hyanya kwantuo ho no sen na wose ye kono wo as a passenger wo kwa preparations a wose wo de ko ne wo twie dia na sese wo ye sa atwerenchem si a dia na sese ye because ade na expose yen efri wukwada beton ne no a expose yen ya ma wutimi se yenim hwe yen ye Ghana fo no ade na nkapa se mesemti hei na wiem hye na na wukwada de chese enya kwanhia sa ba besi fam kura manipa si o esoro ho no mo ayesi o apimdua ena jatom ni yate no no na de a yesi ejatumi tomuo na nka wo de yesi emergency landing kura na asi famu a nka kogina ho kotwa selfie sen ka kogina ho kotwa selfie sen eno na me ka adwen ya da wutirimu e wo se ye adwuma no kebesi wei no watwo ho kura afiri wo eben wo fi a wapie wo kwachiri na nsu sekuro nti wonim sa de no asi fam no samfonso bi na wo na jigbuma wonwuye enti education ne niema bi e wo se yenya e wo sa awiem hyen na kwantuo ho ye ne ete o man Ghana mu hu no momma ye ni nkwa no ho na kyeremufo ankobi ahufo wo mu no kyere se ye be kyeremu a sabri ya yetimu bra ye bomwei ene ye ba be kyere se me na nanka wasa me koforo ena me de wodie nyame to wo chen wo bia na oyi wo firimu ene wode ne wonno no kokyemu ne opese o kyere ye no no asemu apese o ka kyere busua ya wonsunu mu ate Abusuya ye abusuya baako se busumi nnum ntam Obatan baako yafunu baako mu ma nipa miensa na afiri mu meba pilot yi ka ho ene wafiri mu o wobi aware na awatwe mienu ne hani mu nkura yese wanwie wonso abefra du pre no wawubi asam no bia de nipa nwotwe no obia story wote a abrɛho ne wono da wowu ya ade chenye yese ade chenye na no obedi ni birthday watoto ne niema si wono ne story wo hono mo ne wono yese o wono no ka wo hwe mampani ni mfuo so ene ye di position ama no 2 weeks wono so na esene no obia wo story abusuafo ni bi ko gina ho kura wo bu ahwe eti wo no a wo hye wo microphone achi wo no a wotu fie wo no a the opportunity say nyankopon kura say wo se ne wo kan wasem say sa na tie say o nyame ahumobɔ wa yima firi mu a know the time a wo de be kan wasem enya sabri ya manfo osu ena wo beka nti wo pese busuafo no di asem na omo nka nkire wo say wo de wo mo de hia akwose sauti wo pese sa na because eno so wo ho eti anu na wo expect say busua ne nka so wo de wo no ya yi wa firi mu na omo de hia kɔ obi ya ntoma go ye na de obi ya de biada ntoma go ye na de eti ya besre efiri sabri kɔ no nipa wo yi amu wo kura no anya ubusua ni Ghana ni bia ni hono mo a asemi mo no ne wono wo se me na me den na me de na omo ka wi a ko tena sidin a you bisa wo se eyi asem we die mu edu asem we die pantoma ena ebetumi ato obi bia ebia na wo dwen se na me de da be na me kofra dupre bibi betumi asia mo akofro eti ye ka ni se ye ni se ye a na wuni pakro wotena wadwodwo bodwusem se ye de omo ye neme a ebi betumi ato eniema bebre na wosi esua firi ne asie mu eti adesuade ewom wo no momma yenhia enu mom yenya se ye brebra manfo okuro no na empanimfo so a wodi o mayanim so montena se sane mampani eda asem ni siye o address the nation or the two just say every way ye bra e wo so obi bi adin every way ye bra enya afa na migina ha bam saa na every way so ye bra e wo sa mo mpanimfo amudi o mayanimu montena asidin montwan hwehwemu munyai saa ye dimirika ya take decision way ye dimirika ya take decision way ye dimirika ye we no montomo bu ase enya sa wanhwe ya ewiase ne kum nipa eni edika kum nipa pa nsa na wo bra so am wawu eyehu ade ebetumi akum wo ansa na wawu o eyehu eti sa mu amudi o man nanim no mantumi sabri mantumi anyina mo na so ammo man nim nipa ehu se oh ade no asi ehu bambanimfo na che leadership ebiri na wasa mo ma yehu mumma ne nyesa se maye confuse mu hu ne amonya mo ho hwiri kosia na ma hwira be nyina ha hwiri besia na ma hwira besia na ma kawei ede na monso mpanimfo no so dabi edu se mo kire se ye mema ye ma ye di tumi ya hye yensa ya ye di domanim se ye hu mu se mabutu sei ye hu ne se maye confuse sei ye hu ne se mu hu botokora mo de kureche mu a na ye di akire ne ye nyedan edu baabi a wo mini bi edu baabi a wo gina wo na so in front of nipa ne de mam niamu baabi a mo de ye kɔ no de ya nyina ye boayem woni wo a wo ye newscaster wote hono mo a ye de such a story beto wanim wo be breki awie o mfa na hoguno so busuani mfa na hoguno so me see the ordinary Ghanaian wo a wo ye Ghana ni bia no wote a wo so de wo ho enti ye bese sa ye dimirika ye we ya beka we no mom hu kwanya mo de befa so muhu kwanya mbefa so amanage eniema ne ekoso no free sabri ko no muhu kwanya mo fa so amanage no a enya effect bebre wo nipa no e wo man nim no so na nipa bi so take advantage e wo ho yemma nipa bi kwai no omu take advantage of the situation na e koso no because the nipa no hu say da bi omukura omu hu ni omu ye omukura omu chese bibia betumi aba bebom enti ye besre empanimfo asem na eden asem na hu ba munyina monaso dan ye sese moye omaininti the over 30 million population ye wo mainumunti abusia wahwere wade hye ninti yenim ne ye sese ye yenim at the right time and someone was a yeka ne bossa ye nyina no ye nyina ye obi anim nobody Ghana ni bia ni honomo a onnim ne sese ye because oman nyame adom ye wo oman ya yatimuo se ensuo so akwantuo yetumi de kɔ ekwa ye wo kwan so de a yefa ansa na wiem so de e wo honomo eti ye wo route ahoro ba miensa yetumi di tukwan ya say ye pay attention to ni nyina enka ba bia emu ka form nye congested ensuo so nye congested na wiem abai wiem so de aba be ka ho se kwan ye e wo manya yatimu a wo free he kwa santemantemu a na wo se wo be kwa 3 hours kra betumi de aduru the normal you ka 4 hours na de aduru eso ne so free nkran ha na so wo kokumase a how many hours na de ko yennim ne sese yeye yennim ne sese yeye enti yantuyebo yenya botre maya mbobobo ye hu saa me ehunehuna ye ho saa abusia sa fe no abie wa fidi a bani ni shujumedie so enie ha ya dom 106.3 FM so ya dam live wo Facebook YouTube wadwenche obetumi adibi ato ho ena maka no ya portion blame say na ye boyin na ye na ye boyin na ye ni nyina no ena o message no de ba ye nyina obi a be free sabri kwode nya hongono so enya hongono so empanimfo e kan ne ense se o mo kan nyina no minim sasa wo conscience na ye adwuma utibua ye adwuma ene ubedi saa so obi anka nkyere wo a wanka sa da kora wo na enti mu yantoyebo ne enkodo boko ya de asedama Franco Trading Enterprise wonum adawroma ene wode ye besi adwam ne atumi digumade abrewo wode Nokia phones aba Samsung iPhones smart TVs range from 32 to 100 inches ni nyina bi ho microwave blenders washing machines chest freezers ni nyina ebuso ene CCTV cameras no so ebi ewo ho ko Franco Trading Enterprise na say da bi mintumi nante nko ho me pesa me ni wodi dwa abefo kwan so a wodi obo www.francotradingenterprise a woni wodi dwa no ho ebe ma 40% discount wunya ne ba bia je papa Franco ho no mo abusia medin ade akria boachewa yadom wo fra me ABY meje so anwumre yi ye hwe wemsen ya atofam ya emu hwehwemu se ne medical de ato adwa anwumre se yenya botre na na abefo kwan so no ye kase ye be ye hwehwemu ne ehunu ye si ya ye betumi ehu enhwehwemu no ye be hyase afiri he ne akwa akowie he fa enomu ene yesi adwa ye de ho nsem ebre wanwumre yi e wo bani ni hwujuadie so wadwenkyere oba Facebook na Adom 106.3 FM o like no wa share YouTube so 106.3 FM no a producer Stamachi lawyer listo wo kwadwofojo kwamkulenu ena Jamrachum akowua ne odematum live wo Facebook ani YouTube ni din Eddie Edward Tete ya ne Dr. Richmond Afuakwa ebe hyase ye ka doka oye forensic expert ya ne doka ebe hyase ebrika krani wonse ebe sikasemu a ye wo woni a oboa yan ebase na anu die ye National Cathedral ba bia duru no e wo se ye de forensic mu yan hwehwe mu enne ne asie iso no wonse forensic expert asa ba mu e wo ha doka nwumre maju o
ya na ni aba
boko de
Ankopo Adom kucha nkakata.
Edasi anwumre papa sesei obia ne no tim se obia boto kakra eso ene maka na anwumre se ya nkanya ye ho so a ahwe ye be mani pe di akire ni nyina boto aye se da bi ba bi aduru ndie ya pempa ba menyin ni se ya pempa se ne asie ne ye kasa ye nhwehwemu wo mu a ye ntumi enye enu nti na mumu bi sei ewo ho no mo eti na anu ne esi ye and then I may say o ya announcement our constituency no asem ni see yes wo a wakofa bibi wo accident scene hono no farmers no so obi se ma fa watch obi se ma fa we se wa amfa ma enetwamu a ye be declare say wo chese wo ye tuateni a wafa ade a ensese wo fa enhwehwemu su nanka ye yadwen mu oni yenim say se efre bibi black boss ya se wiemu ehyan yakwanhia say esi a ne ye kan so ye bia ye behu bibia doc boa ye kakra edu sabri ya mo forensic nhwehwemu no ebetom sen mwa ben ne betumi dia boa ye wo ba bi a yaduru no
ayo mi abade mi kan na mencha wo de watiefo nyina na so de o kan se afama esi ya magana fo bebre aboto no no kre na yensha dem because the ability dia yesia de free mu ya say amount for the omonkwa trust to amaye kusia ade free mu but obo ade se ni sipa no sa na aba the to me the assembly be to say ade say disaster scene ana crime scene ana bi esia I was say educating a man for more via your friend. Only be a woman. Any kinds of call. The here park of the fair. For your survivor, our accident scene, and our crime scene, and our incident scene, dear. Nippon Kwahina. And this who got accident to be an answer to be sad, master Nippa Tiape or more. Obwa ejini panu ne obeye ne se ubeyi ni nipa no apira ubeyi ni ato ba bia hazard bia ni na wa ye call na free ambulance for na emergency service for amoma ba fa nipa no akọ and prepi ye koto accident ya the ekum nipa no ankasa eye sami esi handle nipa na we pra no obi o ha na bia ne komu kasa no abukaka the mu yi ni akobo na bomo ni amana so de na shaka mu ni de piano sample ni na tumi pokum because you need training na ya de hwe obi a wapira e wo accident and incident scene nti say odi ni pankwa de ho but so baby tell you see you say e ho ahye ni panu ni na obi ni wa ye ko de no kwa water scene no nti ni kwan sa ukọ hompo because I was something 4 years ifemu no so best start with the STA no ya ka forensic science ya afechire nyina na so ya dia body mu nyansa pe ebo nkompo ahwe yachi ahwe di ti ya na dia koto mra ho ye hunu di ti ye nti si e be ko sin no be kwa kwata se no ma de emra no ma ho kunta because adekode na o ko family wo dia the kind so will be actually nkwa the property na wo dia helicopter na ahia no ya ban dia anya wo dia ntumi nkofa na turbine be bi nkoto fie say helicopter no say ahia dia ntumi na ale ni ya bi ntia no correct regional minister and also regional security council say obi amfa ye wakofa fi ho emra back lo mo ni ni nsani ni na nko because black box are okay na asem enya no nko na de be yan hwehwemu black box no be tini a kire yen e be a voice recording a call so and fana adi the perform nti enfa no say pilot no kan bi a kire say aeroplane blade be am function na e was say hwehwemu fo no e kofe blade no na omo confirm say asemo na pilot na kan say blade na more function no crack blade no more function yet na so you correct blade no na step up na na atase blade na kwato me dem a na ye dan ya correct an hwehwemu nti sa na tie ni aba
na doc ye kan on se ne nka wo ka no na se nka accident ni si na ye betumi asomu a na nka ya somu aboa bi but this is the situation ye kan brofedu sikaman die no esi ye no akuafo no ne di ka ko hu ye akuafo no ko hu ye kora na omo gyina nkyɛn mekai the initial report a yenya wo ha sei na omo si o eniema ɛwɔ jeti mu na ehye they didn't even know say ne na ehye ne ye nipa report omo di kan de mai ansa na achie omo ye say ye nipa na na ehye no womo echire no a express kura akọ ambulance service ministers ne mpanimfo fire service fo nyina akọ ho no omo say yusu say akuafo no a ye hu say omo so nipa ni bi so eti ne wo kan na say nka ye wo express omo na wo say omo ye say adwuma no enka nya farmers ne nipa e wo ho no mo ene ye de omo ye say adwuma na na
do not have that ye di kan ye hu say atoyension bi pay no AC Ghana kan and he was the Ghana be a mobile home and such disasters, such accidents can happen and he are mobile homes here. So the United States, Tanoa 9/11, Jacob Bombay World Trade Center Noa, not a mobile almost the service, but Omunia additional. The here to close the fear and say the mission will be a creative because Interpol and disaster victim scheme protocol said you see a party now. The first and foremost is that when you're a car, you're saving life when there is such disaster. But if there is no life to be saved, the movie for one say you're better preserve it. And to see no who's in a power, and to your preservation, no, and some and various things are mobile investigation. Now, a more and young cook on any of more for fear, or one from one family so. And who fiance, the betty to a mortal remains no with dignity. And you know, penny, so that's a minister, every cocoa bottom dear, the more rent. Yempo a yɛte mo mpo no sabi yakwa ba bia ya busua ba he fa ombɛpɛ yɛ ndabi ama kama na mo de ahye na obi a wabɔ bɛɛ minister position na nyankopɔn anya na dom ɔboa ɔman yi mu aka baabi na fa yɛ exercise mo bɔtɔ mu bia sabi ɛnyɛ enti yɛsua bi bi enti emergency response ɛyɛ ade a wɔsa aban fɛ ni enti yɛbɛtu emergency response, the Bernard Mo, ambulance service, Ghana police service. You be more acadia. Ya de yes idea. They assure us acadia no why. And ka more improvised and so far a mono in Gukoko bottom.
Doka fe yamra sene mumu yamu hwehwe mu no sene o ka se ye de abode mu nyansa penim de na ye nhwehwe mu eti wenu a asie no se fa nipa yehu won because we kura de madwuma bamudodo se yehu sa asomasinie obentinie and then yasaba eniema ya ye kan so ye beden ehu mumu de no de du sabri ya mumu gina he nipa no mu nhwehwemu ana se wiem hye ni hwehwemu no de poten na moye wom
forensic science no de be ni na you see kwan yɛrehwɛn no ɛbɛtɔ fam no ɛyɛ forensic science na de bɛyɛ forensic science de ɛyɛ nipa yɛ investigation general investigation but yɛ wɔ ne nkorabata bebree nti ne nkorabata bi ne sɛ yɛ wɔ forensic specialist a ɛbɛhwehwɛ deɛ nti ɛma aeroplane ne kɔɔ fam anaasɛ helicopter ne kɔɔ fam yɛ wɔ forensic science ni a ɔbɛhwɛ sɛnea wɔka nipa wahye a yengunu ne bobre ana so yenu ta tumafie ni obenten no so forensic science and kwabata bia ye betumi de identify na say asomafie kofinie kwame ne nani ano so wo hosa
enti se ye jai mu mamu efiri sabri ekose o dabi omu ade abode mu nyansape ye hwehwemu no ombetumi aye ama yenya accurate resource report ebeba no ye de ye bibi ebeye ye eti yenya mu mamu a mu betumi ama ye resource a ebedi mu a ye de ye bibi ebeye ye since nne ye tie se we si o ene ye hunhum asem we si o na ye we na ya asoden mumu de ne gya ma mo a mu betimi emma ye resource a ye so mu ye bibi ye doc.
Okay, my question I'm not answering twofold. Say ye gya ma mo to presuppose say amount for no gya ma mo ana say bind gya ma mo okay, the big time I can say a buying master committee or more yes committee in the four was a you sure experts also experts then so another committee no everything as a subcommittees mobile science na and a buying deal you sure say the committee our experts also forensic experts also mobile science and panel to my so the so any no question they work na to my for enya regime say Ghana ha ye wo nipa omo ni die nipa omo akukuni nipa aban aba omo ka ade omo akwa bruchire ebi enya ntete wo ye ya omo wo saa ni omo betimi dia boa ya no ye saa hwehwe mu enyo ba bi say eti de bia bebre no na ma public knowledge, but we want in the four or more science, more Ghana or money actually. A hand to your woman, Indiano, and a Cabiano, you bet me at the other science. But Cabiano and I, any who may be as quickly as possible. A bind between me and 40 Miami and in the corner, I'm a model yet, if you can only now.
Donc hwehwe mu bi say no etimi take how long say ba say ye de abode mu nyansa pe na hwehwe mu a ebetimi ateki be afe bosome mienu emre be say
me abana ba hwehwe mu bi say ebetimi ateki from one day to infinity in you know investigation no there will be a friend of cold case to say bedroom pompon so bia uni need bia or the 250 mo so say in same say here so na me kan ya dia body mu nyansa pamus ya hunu na ya hwehwemu no ya de nyoma bia ya de no crime scene ho ya de another accident scene ho nyoma bia bia before accident ni be see no and same day I bet here and the years answer for me no. The way ya Mono it to me a group baby here or referring to it as cold case. Say I don't know young fan say it's not so young and Mono dear it depending on evidence a cra and idea you should na accident and disaster scenes ya exact account ya no ne say exact fire there exact share there pa and to say ja account na say ja share evidence no bebre ya it is possible say you mu no better because evidence the wo nyina maybe adane trace evidence also say ya pa and to see ma and if you move for no timeline, say, yeah, mamma, I was say, yeah, mamma, but so me, Monfa, a semi hojina beer and Maria, it be an amount on due pressure. In Tiamo Mabotre. As some see a federal be kind, a more rem. So, but ye narrow, you must say, Nipano or more young or more in dear. So, but we know a young media, ne year day pound. Baby, a share evidence, you know. And what you the jet fuel, it burns at a very high combustion temperature. And nipa no more aeroplane no more, almost share to the point to say, you to me who's assume a or bentley. And the nipa crash shared with you can console no. They also tell and said, nipa no bag there, and a crowd. Oh, and the idea and the better trying to moon no so no. It be a shit. And the man finds it moon, you know, a ding. You see, ma, omo yehwehwemu no ye mo bre na ye mo allowance kakra allowance Mexico allowance the space ye mo space kakra na omo yehwehwemu no na oman no ensure bibi on 3 ds
yo doka nyumre ye damase papa asemi ba ye sane ye frem a magibre boa with education because sane ye wo kan ye den kan ye nim ne sa asem na si ye pentem kura say won say a free man pani atena ye panimfo start e take decisions bi o ene ye the desk si ha ene ye division ye gi wenti ase ye pentem ba sane ye waka say da bi enya ho pepra adwuma e wo say ye ma say ya set up a committee say omunye nhwehwemu a omuhia bre ye damasepa ne mo a mode boa
I think that or some can abi we say when me sha here na say bibi say that that aban ya de pa na o say boa aban no so abaso say what you taking a bold steps and at least a between 4 ehun say and this year no our card the only a between 4 no ehun it gives them clarity and closure. So even though say your busa questions about procedure and all, at least that has been clearly defined. So and I think that Abino show a lot of compassion. So that the compassion the people of Ghana and the government have shown is very commendable.
You doc me na wase ye gidi se ebre a waka no eso a ye behu so efise na anu de wa bre ba so ye de mu na ba ye de ko South Africa na kwa akoye enhwehwemu na pathologists ani nipa bi so wo Ghana ha so complain say ye wo ha ye betumi aye adwuma nti hin ye de kure but wa me ehu se situation we no ani enyan kakra ye da se pa bibia ni e besa ba nan so
da se we
Abusia Dr. Richmond Afuakwa oye forensic expert ne no atwetwe nkomo no nti wahu asemo a ome ate ase ade no egibre enhwehwemu ene ye eti omuntumi mfa bre ntoso so eni na awotwe mienu de ne ya ye nhwehwemu na wie eni na awotwe miensa de ne awie o se eye bre adwuma omo yesa abodie mu nyansa pa nhwehwemu no o de bre ene ye adwuma ti abotre ne ebenya ama wo no nhwehwemu a wo ye no watumi aye apemu akwa animu abusua sa wabie wa fidi a bani ni shujumedie so eni oba Facebook YouTube a wadwenche no obetumi ade bia to wo Adom 106.3 FM a wo de Facebook no like na share na fa wadwenche eto ho no mo na yenhu sene eniema esi etie yebekọ na yene Dr. Robert Latin Nesta atwetwe nkomo Dr. Robert Latin Nesta Ochu British Army aircraft engineer ene yene no atwetwe nkomo no because baby ayedru no e wo se yenya nimdifo sene doc aboa yen no another doctor ya chese aircraft engineer obetumi aboa yen ene yene no atwetwe nkomo no doc anwumre ma memo adwo emra bani ni shujumedie so.
Hi, very good evening.
Me jidi se bibia boko de.
Nyame Adom bibia efa.
Ye da sepa nwumre se waje ye so because baby ayedru no we need your help with education niema bi ho ye hu baby asem no ye de fa what happened last week Wednesday no obia wone de a wo ka se bisi o ye spiritual ebisi da bi ye weather ebisi ye technical fault aye bebre eba aircraft any sanye esi aye adwuma mo engineers no ansa na ebetuo say take off ne ho adwuma no docket saying
thank you very much for the audience. First and foremost, as engineers and technicians, we are trained to the highest point of education concerning aircraft and all that. Because aircraft in via an anti-formal BBC one, and basically, Obia offers to the aircraft course to train as an aircraft technician or engineer, especially the technical aspect. They go through very strenuous education. And with that, you swear, no, say, you service the aircraft to the highest point of your ability. And all the training that, makes you come out as a very good technician. If you don't pass all the courses, you won't come out of training. And especially with military, safety is our priority, and so therefore everything we do, we take safety first, and then we go from there. And training and in that form, especially when you are working with aircraft.
The helicopter you use in the country, make Ghana. We are familiar with the helicopter you use Ghana, I say, Doc.
Military for Ghana helicopters, I know that we have 2 main, primarily 2 main aircraft we use in the Ghana Armed Forces, which is the MiL 171H, and then the Chinese helicopter Z-9, which is what we use mainly in the Ghana Armed Forces. Yes.
Na ne quality because issue here by wutie ni amanfo kan na 1975 helicopter ni ye use wo Ghana na ne quality chese ne enye papa sim bebre na wo ho in a country to say Ghana yebeka say yakoto helicopter enye papa and ye use wo Ghana since 1975 ne ekeka ho say ya woka say you are familiar with the helicopter you use wo Ghana no ye bisa say na ho oden ne tesen a wo fam ne tesen.
Well, I think these aircraft are very good aircraft. I mean, when you see, when in Africa, especially in our part of the country, say BBC, everybody talks. You have unsolicited advice from so many people. And unfortunately, that is the situation we are facing now. But I'm very glad, sir, you talking to experts. I worked on different aircraft with the British Army. I mean, in the British Army, I worked on the Lynx, the Gazelle, Highlander, Defender, and the Apache. Now, when it comes to being a Commonwealth soldier, before I left service in 2017, I was one of the only Ghanaian, or even one of the only Commonwealth soldiers, and the British as well, who has worked on all 5 British Army aircraft. The Highlander and Defender were fixed wings. Now, when it comes to helicopters itself, irrespective of how old they are, engineers and technicians are trained in such a way that we maintain these aircraft. Now, hardly would you have an aircraft falling out of space, like what happened in our country. And it couldn't be anything. When you look at the whole thing, we need to go back to the drawing board and take people on and take people to task, especially when an aircraft is flying dignitaries. Now, I worked in Afghanistan with Prince Harry. I serviced his aircraft. I've been twice in Afghanistan, twice in Iraq, and all that. And we service our aircraft. Now, we are not in a war zone where aircraft should not be maintained to the highest of degree. We are in a peace time. So these technicians do in this service these aircraft very, very well. We have the corrective maintenance and the preventative maintenance. We have DFSs and TFSs. Now, DFSs are daily flight services that these technicians perform on the aircraft. So they go around the aircraft and make sure and check that things are correct, all the bolts are intact, all the rotor blades are intact, there is no wear and tear. If there is a wear and tear, they would have to measure it and make sure, say, it is within limits and all that. And these DFSs come on a scheduled maintenance. We also have the TFS, which is done every week or every 7 days or 25 flying hours. And these things all come into the preventative maintenance. We then have the corrective maintenance, where if something goes wrong, it is put in place before any accident happens. And these things are done by experts. When a technician services an aircraft, he has to go through so many phases before it is checked to fly. In situations where ground rounds are done and it does not pass ground rounds, the aircraft is not allowed to go airborne because it will cause havoc. And these things are done and done well. In our case, there is a whole lot that has gone on, and that is why questions need to be asked. And those who attended to the aircraft must be brought to book. Because if we are talking of a main rotor that has lost its power, and for which matter we killed our honorable men and our heroes, then questions need to be asked. Someone has tampered with something, for which reason the military had to go down and dig deeper and get everybody who was associated to the aircraft from when a maintenance was done and to the last person who checked the aircraft off to be flown. Because there is a particular knot that holds the aircraft, which is the main rotor, to the main rotor gearbox. We usually call it the Jesus nut. And these nuts actually is very, very hard to crack, right? And the reason why we call it Jesus nut is before you crack it to have access to remove the main rotor, you shut, like you crack it some Jesus before it cracks. You see, so a whole lot goes on. When service is done on the main rotor or tail rotors, we have independent inspections. And what we mean by independent inspection is that Obia on your associated to the work that is done at all, who is also an engineer or technician, has to come and follow your book, your way of practices, which is produced per the maintenance schedule, and he has to go through all the processes, making sure, say, whatever you are checked, say it is being done, is done, before the aircraft even goes on a ground test. We do ground tests and vibrations on the grounds and all that to check that the aircraft is okay on the ground. After the ground test has been done, we also do a flight test, airborne test, where the aircraft has to be flown by the pilot and the technicians who service the aircraft. Once all these tests are done, then the aircraft can be checked to be S. When we say S, we say it is serviceable. When we say an aircraft is US, we mean it is unserviceable. In situations where even the aircraft flies and there is a little vibration in the main rotor or tail rotor which does not actually balance the aircraft, then we deem the aircraft unserviceable until we correct all the anomalies before we make the aircraft serviceable. So these are the processes that we go through to get the aircraft airborne. Now, because of the dangers involved, i.e. lives on board and things like that, aircrafts are not just marked to just go up in the air. In situations where it happens like that, then there is a sabotage somewhere and somebody needs to do something. There are situations where errors are made, but those errors must be corrected before the aircraft is checked to fly. And especially in our cases where it is flying dignitaries, technicians of high caliber are assigned to the aircraft to make sure that they are 100%, even 110% serviceable to fly.
Doc, from Onareshi, nature say, so say, was say ye investigations, I was say ye koso. Me crowd me jibesi say you are calling for say hazmat rule because obia temper with jet nan sana but doc ye can say ya mo aso na ma yeti ase say ye will be a friend black box.
Yes. The black box, black box, which is an orange box, is a recorder that basically records most things, communication within the aircraft, an incident or voices that is heard in the aircraft before That is when the aircraft is airborne, and then before incidents and all that.
But sanya wo kan dog say ye can say sia conclude say there be ye suspect say obi temper with bibi ewo mu na black box no that aspect no ye nya nhwehwemu nwie ya enye true well say ye beka say ye gidi say na asi.
Well, you see, what is happening now is that all the we should stop the assumptions. See. What the aircraft in aircraft accidents, the black box is recovered. Even when it's not recovered, we try as much as possible to get the necessary information. Crash sites are cordoned, and every piece of the aircraft or every piece of element item is collected to make decisions and all that. But in such an incident, we go back to our books. We check each and every person who was associated to the aircraft. From whatever maintenance. We go back to the maintenance books. We check when corrective maintenances were done. Now, with the main rotor and the tail rotors and even engines and all that, when we do every 25 flying hours, we would need to have a preventative maintenance done or a corrective maintenance done, depending on the manual which is associated to the aircraft. So in this case, we need to go back to the books. We need to check who last worked on the main rotor and what were put in place, and who was the independent inspector, i.e. the senior technicians or senior engineer or the senior aircraftman who did the last inspection. This is a line of investigation that needs to go on. The way you civilians are seeing it is entirely different, because civilians will speculate and all that. But the military will go down and ensure that anybody who was associated to the aircraft before the crash is brought to book. Even if somebody even went around the aircraft and did not even touch it at all, and someone knows about that person, he or she must be counted in the investigation, because aircrafts are made in such a way that they don't just crash. In Afghanistan, in my last tour where we had an aircraft crash on the mountains, we lost six colleagues. It was a problem with the tail rotor servo, which was not properly serviced. And we did in the investigation, and we found out that the last person who worked on the aircraft, made certain things, and for which matter the aircraft crashed and killed 6 of our heroes. So things must be done, and protocols must be followed to the latter to ensure that the last person who was associated to the aircraft is brought to book, and they are in question and all that. Because for issues to happen on the main rotor, this is a bigger tool. I mean, four rotors running at 360 RPM a minute, which is a lot of speed. So we don't just play on these things, taking things for granted. It is high time that we do the ordinary things extraordinarily well in our country, and that will save our people, that will save our armed forces, and that will save the entire country as a whole. And everybody associated to the aircraft before he flew and had that fatal crash must be brought to book to answer whatever there is to answer, because we are talking about people's fathers, uncles, brothers, and all that. So this should not be taken on the mere surface. It should be properly investigated, properly, brought to book, and people must account for their actions.
Doc, can you bet me the pilot training and I said decision making of the pilot, and whether no so bet me a contributory factor to near SC no, because and they say another aircraft too baako in Nkoko and the other one ewa dance honoma where the other issue no accident ni see no a ti ebetumi aka say whether no so ka ho ana say pilot a wotwi so eno so betumi abeka ho bi.
You see, our pilots are trained to the highest degree, and I believe that the pilot for a pilot to carry dignitaries, they don't just put any pilots there. Some of us who were lucky to service Prince Harry's helicopters were not just taken as mere engineers or technicians. They pick the best out of the lot to ensure that they do the right thing. So when you talk of a pilot error, we have to look at the pilot's experience and that and all that. When you stand from behind, the day or the minute ahead of the aircraft crash, the first thing that dropped in my spirit was, this is sabotage. Why do I say sabotage? Because for an aircraft to fly dignitary, it must be checked to the highest point of serviceability. Mm-hmm. And an aircraft would not go down easily like that, losing all power in the main rotor and all that, and you call it a pilot error. It's highly unlikely.
And the weather no so me.
I mean, we have a beautiful weather in Ghana. We've seen worse weathers, and these pilots go through simulations and all that. It could hardly, talking from my point, it could hardly be a weather problem.
From near okay no my attention and call the technical aspect or more engineers say
absolutely. Everyone who was associated to the aircraft, every major maintenance done on both the tail rotor and the main rotor should be taken into account. Once that is done, I can tell you, we will find out so much that will overwhelm the entire country.
Dog ansa na meja wa mo akono se wo tufo efa e free sabri airco the maintenance aspect wo yen aircraft mu ni yenya die na wo gidi se wo se ye be he fa na bibi ato sin short force no wo he fa wo die na se ye
the mechanic say it goes down to the chain of command. I know say yen military knowing say we have much aircraft and sure they say obi wa atare bako and now or shoe bako pe or making sure say every time start shoe bako pe no warranty or polishing every time or wash biano or be polishing or be wash and all that to keep the shoe going and all that. And that is how someone who knows he has only one item or is not privy to have much things would keep their stuff. Now, in our case, what I was saying is our military know they have a standard. But then there are also things within the military. I mean, you can't have it all. This country runs on a political peripheral. And see, basically, everybody has their way of doing things and all that. If I would advise, we should ensure that we take our servicing and maintenance very serious. When you look at our own country in its entirety, you can see, say, the country and maintenance is not very good. Africans are not very good with our maintenance. But when it comes to the military, we take maintenance serious. Therefore, we should ensure and instill more safety precautions within our activities. When we do that, it's like driving on the road. Everybody is driving recklessly and all that, and we think it's okay. Now, the military has a system that instills discipline, and that discipline goes down to the tiniest of things that we do. In instances like this, there has been a fundamental error, and that error has not just been made because it is an error, but it looks like an intended error. But from where I am sat, I cannot make decisions and all that. Those in charge who are trained into aircraft incidents and investigations would have to go down and ensure that they check to the latter and ensure they bring out the best from their findings. But what I would say as someone who has been there and done it is to take our safety very seriously and ensure that we not only work because we want to work, we are not only appointed because we need to be appointed, but whatever appointment we have, we execute our duties expertly so that we will save our country and the continent as a whole. This is what I'll say as someone who has been there and done it and still has the heart for the service.
Doc, yeah, that's it. Say what to allay fear. Say what same issue we move because we had a member of parliament. Wabekache ye say yeba yen Ghana Police Service aircraft and anwa domode eba ye ne namwa a flying coffin. Eti nature say ama as a fierce be benipa mu say me kofru bia ye see ade no kra enye papa ben mre wa me hu say a maintenance no ne hia.
Yes.
Not the years are manufacturing a year.
Not at all. You can be driving a 1987, 1969 vehicle. If you service your vehicle every time, change oil when it needs to be changed, change bolts and nuts when they need to be changed, use tie wraps in places that they need to be, do your steering, change steering oil change and all that, your car will run well for you. These things are built to last. Now, in our cases, when an aircraft is AOG, aircraft on ground, which means that probably a main rotor, a tail rotor, or a component in the engine is malfunctioned, we change them, we replace them, and we make sure that they are running well and they are running okay before we go airborne. Other than that, then we wouldn't even be sitting in civilian aircraft. Because let me be very honest with you, civilian aircraft are running to make money. So some of their checks are very weird. But with military aircraft, safety is our priority. Every military aircraft all over the world, safety is our priority. And we spend so much money. I remember when I was in the Defense School of Aeronautical Engineering, we were told they spent $160,000 on each soldier to train them to come out as a technician or an engineer. So it's a lot of money that goes into the training of these technicians and engineers. So you could hardly tell me it's human error. Human error comes in adverse weathers and all that. This is no adverse weather. The pilots we are talking about and the co-pilots are well experienced. So you couldn't tell me it's human error. Now let us go back to the books and go back to the maintenance books and let those novices stop talking what they are talking because it's a lot of BS. Let us go back and leave the solution in the hands of the experts. Let us attack our books and the military will come out with findings and people will be held accountable because lives are lost. People have lost their husbands, they have lost their uncles, they have lost loved ones and all that. So we shouldn't just be sat there and talking anyhow because we feel like we have the microphone to talk. Okay. Let us tax the military and even hide experts to come and dig into our books to ensure that this error does not ever happen again. Because what if the president was in that aircraft? We would have lost a sitting president. That is why it is very, very important that we take this thing very serious and stop people using their mediocre minds to sabotage the progress of the country. This is not allowed. Not at all. Whatever is there, whatever books need to be opened, let us go back to the maintenance books and ensure that the aircraft is maintained or was maintained to the highest degree before those dignitaries went in our aircraft. We've lost heroes. We've lost servicemen. So things must be done and done right and not on eye service. And people sat there and talking whatever they want to talk because they think they are in positions. We should tackle everything well.
Mamina was a report no so Mejidi say ye nhwehwemu we na report no ye mano ye public and so beboa.
Absolutely. It must be made public to hold people responsible for what has happened. No one should be left free. Everybody attached to that aircraft
must be questioned and solutions must be sought so that this will never happen again. This is first in Ghana's history.
Doc, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Take care. Dr. Robert Latte Nesta Otu or a British British Army mua a honor yen adwuma as aircraft engineer. One who named the air or on chemo de my yen say Adiano a remu ho ena pilot so ever on adwuma but ono de baby a ote ene na adwuma a oye as aircraft engineer no or gidi say technical fault mechanical fault e honomo yemfi ani enhwe ho obi ahyeda aye bibi ensese oye etu de ebeba sa nkomo no so achi na ma yenko nipa no a aka achire no abusua no a aka achiri sabri ene kwan a ye fa so akasa ne se ne ye niema no edu sabri a na nipa wodom na se ne nipa ye niema fa ne enti a ye adwen bi psychologists for edu sabri ya ne ehia wo mo a efrim pani so besi nkwada so eti ye ne ye maame charity kuonu entwetwe enkomo na yenhwe pempenso edi na sese ye ho eno majo
ena
da sie nwumre se waje ye so pa efse ba bi adu na me hye ase na me kan sem bi anwumre se enye ba akofo na aboto efrim mampani so ebesi ni otwato so asem no ti a epemo enti ase ye hu ne ye hu obi e kanede ye hunhum ye wiem ye fidie chese obi e ka bi empanimfo kura edi ye nimu hu ne omo fa e de aye adwuma and then ye utterances nsem bi aye ka omo aka achi eyire maame mo nkwada edu sabri ya de na sese ye hu asem ben na sese ye ka de na nsese ye ka
no that's it yechia etiefo ni ahwefo nyina asemu ya abei yede hyedeni ya akọ kese ema musua horo nyina yesrese enfama abono nyina sedia okaye no na impact no eson woso yen ma bebia nkomo ayesa issue ya no ahụ komo na yebo ne yebesre ene se abusua no omonto omombo se bani se ya na ye o se ada se obekum tokwa ebisa wo ho se edien na de baaye ana wudwane free asem ne ho ana asem na afriziu na wuntimi tu anamon ana se ube engage socially na wa engage yensu a ube tinsema ebe boto enti ye kan se yesrese yenye boko na afenso so yenhu se asem ya asini e wo se utimi ni wadwen edi nkomo ne waten kanso edi nkomo na utimi hihye ho kakra yesese se bibi hawa ewe busua no mu a bomodin na bie wano na hire wadwen ewo boko yem afenso so yesese abusua no daily functioning se wadi yo dada wo fie no wo be hihye ho kakra edidiem edwariem enam kura no wahwe na untimi nsori mpo na wadi se dwuma we no nyina afenso so yestresse e wo se o relaxe se wonim Kristo a ene woni Kristo enim komo na bompaye na manyame nkronkron onyodu okoma baby biara ugidie wo no identify with the death se owosia ugidie nyina so ene sen se Kristoni ana Muslimni. What is your belief? Afenso so no e wo se ye hu se sadie we ye si no ya hwe asedie nanso ye betimi asan sore na yesua bebia ye frifie ye ni ye sue bibi afrim na ye san ahyehyɛ ye ho so man ye sɛ enkrofo a atorechem yi ato wɔn yi no ɛwɔ sɛ yɛtimi ɛkae wɔn mu na ɛyɛ me dɛ sɛ yɛtimi ɔmampanyini ne nkrofo timi hyehyɛ ya yɛkae wɔn yɛlɛ reefs ɛnyɛma biara a yɛde bɛkae wɔn a ɛbɛyɛ nneɛma a ɛbɛma yakoma atɔ yɛyɛm sɛ mmerɛ bi a ɛbɛsen yɛ no yɛne saa nkrofo enum enyansawosoɔ ɛwɔ Ghana man. Now, for the sake of this illegal mining, and this will be a warning to us, say, you're very connected in love and sharing at the family level, at the country level, yes, say, social media effect. I was saying, you're very careful of information. You're consuming. So, who consuming wrong information? A bema situation are west. And so, we want us to consume right information, right sources. And what is happening to us as a nation? But I was here to na yesia adie again na yes struggle with is it our faith, our beliefs, our opinions again na produce ewo yemu se again na ye bisi basa yesre se yento yebo na yemmo nyame mpaye na yen set ye priorities as Ghanaians then na yebeye next time sa adie we ento yen. And then our feelings must be managed. The way I over kasa, the way I over communicate, I was say, would no quarry edgy. Na umanya misro esi show. Na we show hoso, with the abufo kasa, a reho kasa, nina munu, I was say, with me show home. Yes, I say, ye be a responsible citizen. Na yabua ama. Yadi yara ever blame game Emma. Name where we made our mistakes, we pick up from there. And yes, say Abusiani say, Mama yen shedding, yen wabwa yen sra yen misebisomasi, na yen sisanketen keteno, na photo biara ye trawa ya dreamwa, afra yen, ama yehu osuro, etcha yehu esiano. Ya to yebo ebani say ya obi ti se plane kure twemwa ni yembe timi ahye obi ti se ka ebo nwi a ni yembe timi ahye any little triggers ebetimi di odenye bi abraye no especially to the immediate family no yes won say omonto omobo na omon process pain no na esuba omonsu na say after that, no, they should apply the wise mind. Na omutimi dia ye ayiyoni bibia won hyehyeye. Megidi say the sanyama we nyina gugu akwan na edu baby ade na ye employ the works of a psychologist or a counselor. Na ye put all things together. Na ye boa ye ho na ye support ye ho activities bia be boa ye Ama yetimi I grow through the pain and the trauma no. Nyame be adom na bibia betotimi with time we will be healed. Thank you.
Yo, Marco onu yenhwe ni say o ka say yen employ the services of a psychologist no. Ye pesa services na himfo na wose ye de ema wo because na me medwen say eye abusua no a wahwere wode hia waka akire eyire emma maame ne papa mo but neba ko amete ye from the area asem ni see ye residents e wo ho no mo say oh yesese ye tise bibia bomu a ne ye mahye and another emergency landing aircraft foforo e kosi wo saa adanse area ho no mo utie voices na niema ni bi kan sai ye ti se bia besia me maame anya stroke or dada mi hu ba bia me de ne fa ese mi ti bibia na me ye mu ahyeme hifo na wo say ye ma ye ni ko won ho in terms of say we are counseling them beboa omo sabri residents na ka ho hifo a
okay that's it mami ne kan say sa issue we no e de bibia ye fe ne triggers enti any little thing say we no it spark emotions and to people living in that vicinity and in the whole of Ghana yet is a plane crew and it's a say weather conditions no we are all at risk for triggers but the issue is say yes say triggers ne ba this someone say are they true or is only your feelings and now say someone say are they based on facts and I feel so no one kasa u pejemu you are modifying it and making it big but maybe na adene ye kakra bi enti ne ye kan say woman omuye at risk at most no the most immediate family they need help the next group ayebeka wansem one were involved with these people maybe at the workplace at churches at the mosque baby omoni omo and sawoso omoni omudi nkomo na wo twinum sadana nopa all those people we need to help I feel so corona semisi mono that place also they need help because trauma image a dadwinum enti wonnama we betimi asondaye na wanya flashbacks na ye o say ade ni sense bio enti say ya moa omo a ombetimi ewura tibia emwamu ena fensu obi biara oye aged kakra owo imroye woni paduanum yariye adwimo haw ana atitibi aware ni bibiano it can all connect and trigger and Ghana as a whole we need help it is share wo hu said they were come ebo said they fifre too said they hu so so wo hwe na niema binum nsisi ye wontimi na any de keka ho a bomodi na true mental health workers so ana anybody to do with counseling and panyinfo a woye matured na yen nyina no yen kambom na yen moaboa ye ho because we are all at risk
yo ma yen na wasene mfa usia
medasi yo
abusia Mrs. Charity kuonu psychologist emwa na odi amaye nwumre ti de wo mu a na wafa atu botom because ye kan ene de nkokọ African fa video no eto so mame emergency landing and chese aircraft mienu na ne emergency landing no ko mensa pilatu kura de o say koso nkokọ nye nkokọ nko baby a ba ku isi ye atwerenchem na anu ku ada de isi ye ne nchen ho no mo a akwowa we mensonso wa hu mensonso ene hwe eho de no enesi ho no mo a edom atwa ho ahia no eti na ne ekoso no nkokọ baako na mensonso so de no baako hwe mensonso de no mo se na eko kirano gold mines ho no mo na tese na ani hwe ene nkokọ de yi a nipa atwa ho ahia ne emenwanwa ye frɛ wi amaka kan yese enti wunsura de wunsura asem chasa watimi wote ya wode ntuma agbo mu firifie akogina ho kotwa selfie video no na African Adaroma odi atum wo Facebook ani YouTube amaye no na chasa na ya dwenkyerɛ yi odi aba ose bi wai mechia mu anwumre mehwɛ mu free ahama no ewo he ose yemmompa yema ama Ghana yɛda Women Sepile true say another emergency landing ɛna akɔso ɛwɔ nkɔkɔɔ no ɛna meka no nkɔkɔɔ ne menson so say baby aduru no yɛnyina nkyene kom ne yɛmmɔ mpaeɛ kwadwo free body phones adwuma ko ɔsɛ bi why fantastic anwumre medamase na may the gentle souls of sa nipa nwɔtwi ɔmo na yie nyamemfa ɔmo kra ensie yie Eric Ebuadi Patriotic Voices ɔsɛ ebi why mechia mo na busua wahwe wade hye nyina na memma won yakɔ bechem na mewɔ nyamemfa ɔkra ensie na nipa no so aka kyire no so nyamenhwɛ wɔ so Emmanuel Kefianko ɔsɛ in fact akuya what asɛm aircraft engineer no aka ɔsi soldiers no was say ye ma yani ekɔ ho ɔsi in fact I like this aircraft engineer because soldiers must be more than serious to defend the country say a soldier for no ɔmo de ne say ka ɔmo no ɔmo animre na ɔmo defend the country no ti ye kɔti bibi sɛ sabotage free hɔ aba na ɛsɛ ehu kwasi wusu ɔsi mehwɛ mu fi Sydney na ɔsi akuya ye kan experience so ye free mu a eyeye dabi nunti na engineer no can say ono ne wate ne say sa pilot we no very experienced one because ebeba say ministers of state ekotena mu bia o so ye very experienced say omo anim ni nyina anim say ye kan mo ye ade e wo wiemhye ni twie mu o man Ghana mu a ne ne wo twie no o ka ho Eric Oparimensa o se bi why asɛm a ye kan yenkosi aga Ghana asɛm no ba se ya yebekukuru mu ne ahuro ho saa so yenkosi aga nipa yakun won magi mu na hye badwani kura yakun ye de ye nhwehwemu how many years ni enkosi aga ehye kwa wunte so o se bi wa mehwe mu free kwa wunte so na mechia incoming national women organizer ana Joshua Sante wo se akuya midin dia Sante Joshua Sapon wasa atobiase ana mitie mu efri na yesra da ne asie no omo ede politics wura bibia mu no ha de adwobre mu omo mfa nkɔ hɔ Stevenson Sian o se mehwɛ mu fi Washington DC na Africa nkoa na professionals wo hɔ asɛm si a yɛbɛfra akomfo ene hunhum nipa sɛ wo mo na nkyere mu wɔ abra wo mo nimdie eni hɔ no mo Paul Amano Soji o se akuya mewira boa ne oni ho de eta no si o se akuya me da ni ama mewira ho kese ene nipa no mu no a ye digu kokoo botomu no eno na kyesa botome Matias Nyako o se akuya mesre mampani pa se be ya kanimanimu ya sa helicopter etuo no yentwa so enne so video amode atomu a ye hwei na ese mienumu yembane na yemfansisi form ne yenwene ye ho Gastiman wo se akuya o se akuya asamo a Honorable Elvis Afriye Ankra eka sa blame atkotoa no ma mompe baabi nka no yemfa nto ne yenyi adwuma why chasa 9 de biaba ono so wo hwe ye free ahima no na Afai Battles o se akuya dodo na afre me se Prince ayensua no na mitie mu efri na me no megidi se wo sa aban no hwehwemu a oye no omukomu yie pa na yanya good solution to that problem we Joseph Awia o se akuya mesre se omu a eye nhwehwemu fa saa wiemhyan akwanhia asie ho no engineer ya woni na kasa anwumrei no wo se omode ne ka ho committee no omkɔhwehwɛ na kira kwan na omomfa engineer otu enka ho because the kind of information I was share and the knowledge wo no eso hana fosu o se nyame hu ye nyina ye mmobo saa na junior shepherd so se awrade esre wo so ye mu na hu ye mmobo baby aduru no yehia wo moa ene wadom pa ene wa hu mmobro ene yesre se fadom ye papa Michael Kekuma o se akuya na wo wani abre wo ho dendendin ye ka manye a ye ka se this is a serious country a wo Ghana say ye ka ho Spain na be development pa ekoso ewo ho Joshua so de ayi odi about se Joshua na se yenya manyosem emfiri asem we mu na yempe nokore hin na nokore wo deɛ na yɛde to baabi a ɛbɛyie ɔse hɔ ɛna ɛwɔ sɛ yɛma yɛni kɔ papapapapapa mo Aguje Johnson amoako ɔse nyame yɛ mmɔbɔ ono ne de ayi ode aba empaibo abusua ma mimi ehuma no entum free sabri ko so betumi afrɛ na ade wadwenkyerɛ aba maka kyerɛ sɛ bra ye wo mu no eye bra obi aboto enti empreto so no me mfa nto nkyɛn wo afutu a na ade aba 0302216561 ɛna 0302216562 0302216561 and 0302216562. I'm in for di kan. Hello.
Hello.
Patro mo afidie no nkɔ for mame pa why? Hey, there be near wo feedback na ye ntehwe. Say ye earpiece ma. Hello. 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 Nakule we. Hello.
Baby.
Eja.
Asumie kan.
Enkan so.
Ade sheba nebo nsumi.
Yo, nana mi nti o.
Panin no interview no o experience pa na de bo fun do so no am no so UK.
Or yeah British or British Army mu. Nti ono no se watena UK acha obi a o se Prince Henry Henry yo say Prince Harry ono no ne aircrafter omode kwa Afghanistan no service enti uti brofo bebre amane nya onwa na ma kire omu se wo se ade no a akoso no ono suspect say obi asabotage wo se ye nhwehwemu omo akwa afidie no ho nyina ansa na etuo no wo se ye nhwehwemu ewo mu
oh ma nyame sha no papa no bi kan ye no mo fa ne hwem because when system na ni so what you are saying for so we no kono ni digina no ano nti mes from company pa se be bia se no se organ ya oh mo ko fa no and then say
o ye Ghana ni o ye Ghana ni
na wo ka bi e wi aso hu tu mi wo wi ase na ubasha ye ni no ma konfo no se bibi de sia otini sa die wo sei utiri hu so na hu so na ye ni no so fo idie ebi ye obeka woni be ba hu so no na bleach no na enya abo enti no mo pani ni e be free yanka ya dene sasa nkom sha kasia no se bi na ebo suba be wu a wo de mo nkoko na mo ntimi ni nipa no enye na ye nsipai na me no bia ya de se we fanya magasem o he Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia emna okko o mo pani ho na woni ni mienu to kese na uye na Yesu remi nyobema John Justin Kodie party sem ni how come say mo ya me kan say Onyankopon form kra ensie na se woni ewu obawu ye mu ye yire wu da no wo di ade wo ya manu sem a se Onyankopon kra fa umfo so nchew ye me form kra so no my Ghana ye nye nkambo mu na me se nyame nti ta je ne sie na prela ba ko mu to no mo kwai ngoko godu ho God do you no what to praise here
wo twam nkoko
o twam kwai ye tuni ni tu sa ko fana nkambo ka chile ye me ga no
Nebonsu ye wo baby a ye bo se nsuo fa aba nche se wonum nsuo bio ebi mo adwuma yo no aircraft no we ya na omde ye adwuma enti edru sabre ye hu na abam ahwe Yesu ni ehia hello
everyone
eja wudi ni ba bia frefre no am afidie na kofam
me pacho mo na else na wo kana ni tin ho ka kama everyone ye no no mani kama ko ida wasi na jawa me ida wasi pa ne teta de ma ni duma pa wa fa to ni ko obe tin gana ko na obe ye adipa ni ade boni na ho chi mami ida wasi din ka men pen sa ko ma ye o ma mami ye Dr. Bawumia ni chebe go bia na motu kwa ko chi ene se nya osi ewo ti ma ne wodo bi na o man Ghana to se o man Ghana kuma so ene ne party se ko a ene mo chi o ne president ko ka bo mu Mudia record na make a minister to finish you. And hope man of Maso de Mammy, see, your Moko who's a black spot or a black spot. A year and a pre night, a cotaneto for me. Na your home committee say, Winya, Bia, co, a fian crown, na cocam, na you for my home. Mammy, when you say, also, a bit young of work home. Now committee night and a bit young of work. He did it at a shy deep in Sasson and now a damper here. No, we have a sham control for no. Yet, two evidence at 2 o'clock. And no moment, me a short second moment, one more than say, you know, nay, you are top of office, a Macao. And it's another court. It will be the fucking sweaty. It's immediate cassette and cadamper here and first animal to now. So, if sister was 2 no accompanying some control from no Sharon. Because don't can be used to say about Mammy, almost a yellow plate, never shall see. It would tear, you know what I say, a helicopter. It won't question a memo. It is woman can somebody who said, we are so for. But I miss my one, not one, the them said, can somebody go for a equal, then woman and crypto sumuno, and that's almost automatic, and I mean, let me a question, we don't can say them myself was there. Ghana never such a dinner. Maybe a woosum kwan ever so. It is media president, a holiday. Why I mean, we need to remove the what Tibia is before look to Rinamay and say. The near this bishop say to it yank come out one, never in a dream.
Yeah, that's it. Doc, me and fancy. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, everyone.
Eja, we didn't baby a free. Yami Adom, Naso,
ni Free Laura Upper West Region.
Yo, disciple.
Nibiane John.
Yo, John, me and you.
Nesi none on the Yelema Busiafoni na Yako. But everywhere, Yankaya politicians no Yensu Yankopon. Adentina Mikasa. All the whole country, the road networks. The baroque nature of the road networks. 21st century, not these two capital cities, no, Accra to Kumasi, that's one lane. Share a whole 21st century, Accra to Takoradi, one lane. Because Amanyofo Lankasa Nimse, Timanfono, or not the over Metaplin. Na ya kadie the road no a bad nature a ye deu and foul. This is the time anka. Yes, slam on your force. Incoming 2029, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia be president. On focusing on road for the whole 4 years. Now you Ghana, all these capital towns, no, and link it, the road networks a good. Anka the rest of the business of the day, no. Acquire a papa. Business, the economy, eba. Enti, media, when said I knew one, because the politicians are taking us for granted. So now we are, Mofrano Ekunya accident or Muyeno. The Hamika Siene, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Oba, especially the gender minister, no any other statement to console the families of this kids. But politicians offer him there. They share all angles, Christian council, why, Obia Edinasemba. It is shameful to Ghana. That's it.
Yes, yeah, that's it. Yes, yeah, that's it. Many of my Free Laura, yeah, that's it. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Aja udini baby a free.
Pacho me din di Abu Mfrefe doing.
Abu Mpacho so free. Doinya, yo, me and you, Abu.
Pacho, you chill now with my power. Oh, I did see, yes, Remo. Yetati Adom pa meti, Adom na meti. Meti mo news in the BBI koso. And then, Mosi blame yas akola and the hinfa. Mosi weather. Na adentina we see even the very day that one see and we see Mosi ba kubi asa kolande hifa adentina nka saa plane eko woni se biasi usuwa sa to plane foforo de dia ko hye weather and then sumusa si ba kwa sa to e wan no ho e weather nka eko to kuma mafo ene so kam ko kan se adentina yeti Ghana ha na mo pese mbo e humbai ade biasi mo be ma na kura edi apie ama nyina hu de ekoso na mo de akohye weather and then obi asa to plane na wan eko to obi dan su kokuna na mo sa si weather papa mbe chirichi nso mati bibi wo mu hwehwe ne yi na nja politics na papa penny also pe president wo Ghana hatimisi yo mama aka asama chiri kukufuo ono wanye ntina plena nyame fa no bon nchano
that's it me mfa nsi mame fa ba ko ntwato hello
hello
eja udini baby afrefre o
the virtual FM your penny mensa me kata fi afia
yo eja mensa me enti o
yo me sra bebre me sra John Mahama ene aman penny fo ne se ni abai na no yemfan yin na fantu ya hufu na kagalamse no senya John Mahama wuya we nu so abeto asuru yemfan ye ade bi nkase yenjai if you am saying me see me call some bus school yesi ekuaman achim side ho sa be bi omuye demonstration say ukotwe kwan ni pa efi de kwan na say weso won iti cha demonstration central for mu ye ekwa ekosi say mutuma ndi kira maye me say almost 2 hours now me say so what car no a me say the papa ma for them kwa ban mu pe for car no Nipa bakukwe ni wokebi ma abai no oh adente mama ya ti o man mu ye wutie sa ani achima ya me ko sabe basua bedu fia na do 10 aden PTA meeting so wan ko so asema ba na do 10 o'clock na me gira kwa so 1 hour kan ko kan ba e fi de aden na mama ya wutie sa nti we semwa ya kabia ya no mu tie sisi akwa ya pre me de kam kupon ka Ghana ka yan to abakura wuya na ye discipline wuya na discipline wo me mato to ade wo kwa hu ko tu na o se ene ha de didio mon to abama ye mi didio ade sisi ya nya mo den wo Ghana ntibe da si bebre obo ade sham
on so eja na ye hye dwumadi na se me kan se ensam a wachi wo sa issue we hu no se ye se ye besua bibia afirimu a ye 1000 and over lessons ye betimi asua free sa situation we mu kan ten ya kwai ho ne me wo se ye chese ke betumi agina so aya kwai ye betumi agina so atu galamsa ase se ye se ye de ahoma bebo ye yam ni aye ne sese ye ya enka bere nu ani se ye be ye bibia because minister yi oba ye Rose minister yi kwa probosa na musa ofiri ha na okọ ha na ochi ahwiresi ha eso ye hu kwa ye akwaya na chese ekonko ho nyina akonko wo saa eti brepam ye bekọ ni nyina so ye si ye besua bibi a ye betime sua bibi se ye si ye nsua bibi so a ye betumi afamu saa na enamu ni ekọ eti nei de ha na medemu esi abelenu a message no eba ebeduye osi nyame wonye oman konkron Ghana nyame enye ye pa mo campaign so de muguso na moye sister Penny medase eye sister Penny Peggy Amadonko GTV medase pa eno an engineer no aka no say last minute decision ani nyina no enhwehwemu no ye behwe ne ebekọ akosi medase anwumri medase pa Franco Trading Enterprise for so ye da wase ye kan mobile phone na wuhia mobile phones ni bi wo hono mo e catch us say your original so woto a enni emfie bi afekura enu na say ye Franco ho na woto no a 10 years ene emfie be num emfie be nsia na da so kitawo Gashia papa Nokia phones wo hono Samsung iPhone smart TVs